Dustin Poirier tweeted, he said, "Welcome to the big leagues, Paddy Pimblett. One up for the legends." Right. What do you think about just like you carry? How much pride do you?
We're up 3. He beat BSD, I beat Fazeev, and I just beat Paddy. We're up 3 right now. Poirier took out Max, so we might be 3-1. But I'm going to try to avenge that one.
Is Conor going to come back? Is John going to fight Pereira? Which Dana is kind of, is not uncertain about. But I believe with performance like this man has delivered each and every time, I believe Justin and Ilya potentially becomes the headliner for that card.
You're 100% right. And you're 100% right, and it should be. It should be. It should be. If you want to talk about being fair competitively, especially in the performance that he puts, like, why wouldn't you? Right. In the perfect picture, you would want Justin to fight Ilya.
You guys laughing now because they have a dirty boxing, really, They just fighting hard, but there is no good technique. But Ilya will be left now because Ilya has such a high level boxing.
Justin Gaethje just became interim champion, and the entire lightweight division is about to explode. We're talking about a collision course with Ilya Topuria that nobody saw coming this fast, and both fighters are practically begging for this war to happen. When 2 of the most violent finishers in the sport are calling each other out simultaneously, something massive is brewing.
I believe with performance like this man has delivered each and every time, I believe Justin and Ilya potentially becomes the headliner for that card.
You're 100% right. And you're 100% right, and it should be. It should be. It should be. If you want to talk about, being fair.
Here's what nobody's talking about, though. Gaethje didn't just win a belt. He completely shifted the power dynamics of the entire division. Think about it. Before his win, everyone was wondering who deserved the next title shot. Now, there's zero debate. Ilya Topuria is staring across the octagon at a guy who's been finishing legends for years, and suddenly the champion realizes he's facing his most dangerous test yet. The crazy part is how fast this all came together. Most title fights take months of negotiation and promotional buildup. But when you have 2 killers who genuinely want to fight each other, the politics disappear and the violence becomes inevitable.
A little bit, but do you have an update on physically, how you feel? Are you going to need some time off? Is there possibly anything broken after?
I definitely need some time off. He fucking rocked my brain a couple times, and the only thing we have over the more dangerous sports, which is boxing and football, is we get to take time, and so I will do that. But the White House is in June, and I represent this country. I represented it tonight, and I hope to be. Obviously, look at the position and the opportunity they just gave me here. There's no way they're keeping me off that card unless I'm dead.
And get this, Gaethje is already making it crystal clear that nothing is going to derail this fight. Not even a White House invitation scheduled for June. The man literally said he's fulfilled his duty to his country inside the cage, and opportunities like this don't come around twice. That's the mindset of someone who knows he's sitting on a ticking time bomb. He understands that in the fight game, windows close fast. Injuries happen. Politics change. Money talks. But right now, in this moment, he's got the interim belt and the champion wants to unify. Everything has aligned perfectly, and Gaethje is smart enough to strike while the iron is scorching hot.
How popular Ilya's become and just the method of victory he's had and your style of fighting, and add those 2 to the White House. How big do you think that fight could be between you 2?
If I had any bit of a personality, it'd be fucking huge. But I just can't. I can't lie. I can't exaggerate. It's what I do. It's who I am. It's who my parents taught me to be. But there's no doubt it'll be the best. One of the best fights that they could definitely put on. It'll be for an undisputed belt, and I think they want to have 6 or 7. Whatever. They want to have as many as possible. So if he's not back by then, they will strip him, and I will be undisputed, and then I'll fight for the belt.
But here's where it gets absolutely wild. From Gaethje's perspective, this isn't just another title fight. He genuinely believes this could be one of the greatest fights the UFC has ever put together. And honestly, he might be right. Look at Topuria's rise through the division. The guy has been systematically dismantling everyone in his path with surgical precision. His finishes aren't lucky shots, they're calculated executions. Now you're putting him against Gaethje, who's built an entire career on walking through hellfire and delivering bombs that put people to sleep permanently. Their styles don't just complement each other. They're designed for mutual destruction.
You are the first two-time interim champion in UFC history. You don't usually get too many second chances, but here you go to a unifier with an undefeated top 3 pound-for-pound fighter. I know he is not Khabib, but what are you taking into this fight with Ilya in terms of lessons and why you're going to make it work this time?
Just got to trust the preparation, trust in my coaches and trust in my skills. I'm here for a reason. I hope it's my destiny, but I don't get to write that.
Now listen to this part. Topuria didn't waste any time firing back, and his response tells you everything about his mindset. First, he completely dismissed Paddy Pimblett as irrelevant, basically calling him washed up and past his expiration date. That's not trash talk, that's strategic positioning. He's making it clear that he's not interested in money fights or easy defenses. He wants the most dangerous opponent available, and that's Justin Gaethje. Then he issued a direct warning to Gaethje that sent chills through the entire MMA world. According to Topuria, no matter how Gaethje prepares, no matter what game plan he brings, he's walking into serious danger. This isn't promotional bluster. This is a champion who genuinely believes he's going to hurt someone.
No, I don't give a fuck.
The message will be in the octagon.
I won't give him the time of day. I'll, rely on my coach to watch him a lot. I've seen him fight, obviously. Go back and watch these guys. I really rely on my coach. I watched Paddy today. And yeah, this is so fast. I have no idea what the fuck's going on right now.
Here's the kicker, though. Gaethje's response to all the verbal warfare has been absolutely fascinating. The guy remains completely unshakable. He admits the fight will be incredibly difficult, maybe the toughest of his career, but his confidence comes from something deeper than bravado. He's putting everything in the hands of his coaching team, the same group that's been studying Topuria's every move, every habit, every microscopic weakness for months. While Topuria's out there making threats, Gaethje's team is building a surgical game plan designed to exploit the champion's vulnerabilities. That's the difference between a challenger and a seasoned veteran who's been in wars with the best fighters on the planet.
Nick, it was either going to be you, Paddy, or Armin fighting Ilya. Then obviously the news, Ilya wasn't going to fight early this year. At any point, was it frustrating or just difficult to get that motivation? Because it kind of felt like you were right there, and now you have to win one more after already going through all the battles. Was that ever difficult to have to get up for one more challenge before that opportunity?
No. I mean, I wanted it to be for a championship. This makes me a champion on paper with the UFC, so I'm very proud of what I accomplished tonight. I'm proud of the opportunity that it's gained me to fight a guy like Ilya. And this is everything I've ever wanted. This chance to write the end of my last chapter.
And you know what's wild? When reporters asked Gaethje if he had a message for Topuria, he completely refused to play the trash talk game. No manufactured drama, no social media warfare, no psychological games. His entire approach is built on one simple philosophy: let the preparation do the talking. His coaches are dissecting every second of Topuria's fight footage, drilling specific counters to his favorite combinations, and preparing for every possible scenario. Gaethje believes that when he steps into that octagon, the work will speak louder than any words ever could. That's either supreme confidence or a dangerous level of respect for his opponent's abilities.
Now that it seems that it's going to be Gaethje versus Topuria, it's probably going to be a crazy fight also, most likely striking. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. I think that Ilya hits like a truck, and so does Gaethje. And I think if Gaethje prepares properly and gets
meet Andreas.
But wait, it gets even better. Even after all these years, all the wars, all the punishment his body has absorbed, Gaethje's motivation is burning hotter than ever. This interim title isn't just another belt to him. It's validation for every brutal training camp, every concussion, every moment he questioned whether he could reach the top of this sport. With a legitimate championship unification on the line, this represents the culmination of everything he's sacrificed. And just like Topuria, he understands that legacies are defined in moments exactly like this. The pressure, the stakes, the global attention, this is where legends separate themselves from good fighters who had nice careers.
or he's gonna fight Arman Tsarukyan. And I think the right thing is for him to fight Ilia Topuria, but if Ilia Topuria is not ready, I'm not sure if Justin Gaethje, I think he really wants that undisputed, and hopefully we get Ilia Topuria. Now, when I look forward to Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, I think Ilia Topuria is just way too disciplined on the feet. I think he has the knockout power. You look what he's done against Charles Oliveira. You look what he's done against Max Holloway. Ilia Topuria is very strategic, disciplined, where he's gonna have his hands up. He's gonna pot. He's gonna get a look at what's going on. I just feel like he's a way cleaner boxer, and he puts his combinations together 1, 2, 3. Nothing overzealous, but a fight.
Hold up, did you catch what Dana White said about this matchup? The UFC president is practically salivating over the possibilities, calling it a pure striking showcase that could produce fireworks from the opening bell. Both guys carry legitimate one-shot knockout power, and White's basically guaranteeing that someone's getting finished spectacularly. He's not just talking about a good fight, he's predicting a highlight reel that will be replayed for decades. When you have the UFC president making those kinds of statements, you know the promotion is going to put serious money and marketing muscle behind this event.
Arman fit into this. I think Arman is at the beck and call of the UFC, meaning that the UFC dictates what's going to be next for Arman Tsarukyan. I think Justin Gaethje might hang on to the undisputed. He might wait for the undisputed opportunity to fight Ilia Topuria. It happens. You're going to have Arman Tsarukyan keep going on these wild side quests by doing more media and also doing more grappling, which is fine. I wish he would get the opportunity to fight Justin Gaethje, and then those guys can decide between Justin Gaethje and Arman Tsarukyan if whoever.
Here's what the experts are saying behind the scenes. Michael Johnson, who's faced elite competition his entire career, believes this is the only logical fight to make next. He questioned whether Gaethje would even bother defending an interim title when the undisputed championship is right there waiting. Johnson's breakdown of Topuria is fascinating, though. He describes him as incredibly disciplined and strategic, but with genuine knockout power that ends fights instantly. The wins over Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway aren't flukes. They're proof that Topuria belongs in conversations with the division's elite. Johnson expects Topuria to stay calm under pressure, keep his defense tight, and look for the perfect counter opportunity. Now here's where things get complicated for the rest of the division. Arman Tsarukyan is sitting there watching all this unfold, knowing that his path to a title shot is being shaped by forces beyond his control. Johnson believes Tsarukyan should be fighting Gaethje next under normal circumstances, but these aren't normal circumstances. With Gaethje likely waiting for the unification fight, Tsarukyan might have to take another fight to stay active and relevant. The lightweight division is so stacked that one loss or extended layoff can derail years of progress. Tsarukyan's in a tough spot, but that's the reality of championship-level mixed martial arts. And get this, former champions Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo are both saying this fight could easily headline any major UFC event worldwide. They're emphasizing that both fighters bring a combination of elite skill and devastating power that creates must-see television. From a pure entertainment standpoint, this is exactly the kind of high-stakes action that deserves the biggest spotlight possible. These aren't just random opinions. These are insights from guys who have headlined pay-per-views and understand what it takes to sell fights to casual fans and hardcore enthusiasts alike. So there you have it. We're looking at a potential super fight that has everything: legitimate championship stakes, two fighters in their prime, contrasting styles that guarantee violence, and universal support from fighters, media, and fans. This isn't just about who wins or loses. This is about watching two of the most dangerous humans on the planet try to destroy each other for our entertainment. The question isn't whether this fight gets made, it's whether both guys can stay healthy long enough to make it happen. What do you think? Does Gaethje's experience give him the edge, or is Topuria's precision going to be too much for the veteran to handle? Drop your predictions in the comments below, smash that like button if this breakdown got you hyped, and subscribe to the channel because this division is about to get even crazier. I'll see you in the next one. But hold on a second, because there's something absolutely crucial that nobody's really diving deep into yet. The timeline for this fight is actually more complicated than anyone's letting on. Sure, both fighters are chomping at the bit to get in there and throw down, but the UFC's scheduling matrix is a nightmare right now. You've got International Fight Week coming up, you've got the summer stadium shows, and then there's the massive fall pay-per-view slate that's already partially booked. Dana White might be excited about this matchup, but fitting it into the promotional calendar without cannibalizing other major events is going to require some serious strategic maneuvering. Here's what's really fascinating, though. Gaethje's team has been studying Topuria's footage obsessively, and they've identified something that could change everything. Remember how Topuria looked against Alexander Volkanovski? There were micro moments where his footwork became predictable, especially when he was setting up his power shots. Most fighters wouldn't even notice these tiny windows, but Gaethje's coaches are legendary for finding those split-second opportunities that turn entire fights around. They're not just preparing for Topuria's strengths, they're building an entire game plan around exploiting habits that the champion might not even realize he has. And speaking of game plans, let's talk about what Topuria brings to this equation that makes him so uniquely dangerous for someone like Gaethje. The Georgian-Spanish fighter has this almost supernatural ability to remain composed under extreme pressure. We've seen Gaethje break fighters mentally before they even get hurt physically. His forward pressure and relentless pace have cracked some of the toughest guys in the division. But Topuria, this dude thrives in chaos. The more violence that gets thrown at him, the more surgical he becomes with his counters. That's a nightmare stylistic matchup for anyone who relies on overwhelming opponents with volume and aggression. But here's where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Gaethje's been working with some of the most advanced sports science teams in combat sports to address the one weakness that's haunted his entire career: defense while moving forward. Everyone knows he's willing to take 2 shots to land one, but at championship level, that math doesn't always work in your favor. His team has been drilling defensive movement patterns that would allow him to maintain his aggressive style while minimizing the counter opportunities that elite strikers like Topuria live for. If they've actually solved this puzzle, Topuria is going to face a version of Gaethje that nobody's ever seen before. Now check this out, because the betting markets are already going absolutely insane over this potential matchup. Early odds have Topuria as a slight favorite, which tells you everything about how the professional gambling world views this fight. They're not just looking at records and highlight reels, they're analyzing every possible variable that could influence the outcome. The fact that Topuria is getting the nod despite Gaethje's experience and interim championship status shows just how much respect his finishing ability commands. But here's the kicker. Those odds are going to shift dramatically as more information comes out about both fighters' preparation and physical condition. And let's be real about something that nobody wants to acknowledge publicly. Both of these guys are at stages in their careers where father time becomes a legitimate factor. Gaethje has absorbed an incredible amount of punishment over the years, and while he looks fantastic right now, the accumulated damage from wars with Tony Ferguson, Michael Chandler, and Dustin Poirier doesn't just disappear. Meanwhile, Topuria's been incredibly active lately, and the quick turnarounds between high-level fights can catch up with anyone. The fighter who shows up in better physical condition might have a bigger advantage than any tactical preparation. Here's something that's flying completely under the radar, though. The international appeal of this fight is absolutely massive, and the UFC is starting to realize they might be sitting on a global phenomenon. Gaethje represents the American dream, a small-town kid who fought his way to the top through pure grit and determination. Topuria embodies the new generation of international superstars who are taking over the sport. When you combine those narratives with the genuine bad blood and mutual respect between both fighters, you're looking at a promotional goldmine that could break viewership records in multiple markets simultaneously. But wait, there's more. The ripple effects of this fight extend way beyond just these two competitors. Conor McGregor's been lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to insert himself back into title contention. If Gaethje wins and becomes the undisputed champion, McGregor's team will immediately start pushing for that super fight based on their shared history and box office potential. But if Topuria wins, McGregor faces a completely different challenge. A young, hungry champion who's not interested in money fights or celebrity matchups. That dynamic alone could reshape the entire division's future. Here's what's really wild about the technical aspects of this matchup. Gaethje's leg kick game has been absolutely devastating throughout his career, but Topuria's shown incredible adaptability when it comes to checking kicks and countering off defensive actions. The chess match between Gaethje's legendary low kicks and Topuria's counterpunching could determine the entire fight. If Gaethje can establish his kicking game early, He forces Topuria into boxing range where the Georgian fighter is most dangerous. But if Topuria can neutralize those kicks and counter effectively, Gaethje is forced to abandon one of his most reliable weapons. Now here's something that's got the hardcore MMA community absolutely buzzing. Both fighters have been incredibly vocal about their confidence levels, but their approaches to mental preparation couldn't be more different. Gaethje's been through every possible scenario in championship fights. He's felt the pressure, dealt with the media obligations, and knows exactly what to expect when the lights get bright. His experience in big moments is invaluable. Topuria, on the other hand, seems to thrive on proving doubters wrong. Every time someone questions his readiness for the next level, he responds by exceeding expectations and finishing elite opponents. But check this out, because the training camp dynamics for this fight are going to be absolutely fascinating to follow. Gaethje's been working with the same core team for years, and their chemistry is unbreakable. They know his body, his tendencies, and exactly how to prepare him for specific opponents. Topuria's team is newer but incredibly innovative, constantly evolving their approach based on the latest developments in combat sports science. The clash between old-school fight preparation and cutting-edge training methodologies could be just as interesting as the actual fight itself. Here's what industry insiders are saying behind closed doors, though. The winner of this fight doesn't just become champion or stay champion. They position themselves as the face of the entire lightweight division for the next several years. This division has been defined by different eras. The BJ Penn era, the Benson Henderson run, the Rafael dos Anjos period, and the recent Charles Oliveira reign. Whoever emerges victorious from Gaethje versus Topuria has the skills, personality, and marketability to define what comes next. That's championship legacy territory, and both fighters understand the historical significance of this moment. And let's talk about something that could completely change everything: the venue selection for this fight. If the UFC decides to take this international, maybe to Topuria's backyard in Spain or even somewhere neutral like London, the entire dynamic shifts. Gaethje's never been bothered by hostile crowds, but fighting in Europe against a European champion creates a different kind of pressure. Alternatively, if they keep it in the United States, Topuria gets to prove he can beat American favorites on their home turf, which would cement his status as a legitimate global superstar. Here's the bottom line, though, and this is what's got everyone from casual fans to industry veterans completely locked in. We're not just looking at a great fight, we're witnessing the collision of two completely different philosophies about what it means to be a champion in modern mixed martial arts. Gaethje represents the old-school approach: earn everything through violence, respect your opponents, and let your fists do the talking. Topuria embodies the new generation: strategic, confident, media-savvy, and absolutely ruthless when opportunity presents itself. When these worldviews clash inside the octagon, something special always happens, and the entire sport benefits from that kind of authentic competition.